Hello, my loves, and welcome to Beautifully Imbalanced. We are back. This episode, we are going to talk about grieving. This is another grieving episode, but this is grieving the loss of who you thought you had to be. Mm. So, before we dive in, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you can be notified every time I post a video. I do that out of habit because I realize that this video is not going to be edited with those little bells like I used to do. Anyways, I'm glad to be back. You are catching me at a time where I am one, got my glasses on, take these bad boys off. Two, um, you're catching me at a time where I am doing a fast. And so I know I set my phone close by, but I had to move my office around. I have now, if you've been following along, this is the more raw show, so I can be moving around and shit. But here it is. Um, I have three talk shows now, including this one. This would be the third. Um, And so I wanted to make the scene slightly different. So you have my vision board back here for year 31. We're moving out of year 31 and going into year 32. So I need to examine to see if I'm going to leave this one up or build on it because this is the one from year 30 that I added some stuff to and changed the number to 31 up there. You can't really see it. And this is the new one that I made at my vision board birthday party for year 31. So I'm going to examine all of that and see if I need to add or take away or just make a whole new one for year 32, which most likely I think I'm going to make a new one. I might take some stuff off that to put on the new one, but anyways, wanted to give you guys a little walkthrough of how what we're looking at back here. This is just some of my quote reminders and some reminders for the business and my dream home that you cannot see, the floor plans, some art that I did with my students in the past, and then some notes from my birthday party last year. I made this tree. It was called a tree of prosperity. So people could leave a note, they can leave money, like they can clip it to their quotes. All of the above that could all be clipped there, a favorite memory, a favorite quote, whatever the case may be. So that was my tree of prosperity. I wish I could do it again this year. Just don't have the funds to do it at this time. So I'll have to do that at a later date. But anyways, let's dive into it. Grieving. Oh, sorry, that's what I was gonna say. I am on So 66 hours. I'm on a 66-hour fast. My fast ends tomorrow at 9, which will give me a total of 84 hours. Um, and so during this state of my fast, um, I am more, let me see, let me read it how it came to me. I know this is a little sidebar, but hey, I just want to explain that this episode is going to be slightly raw, more raw than normal. So we are entering into 66 hours. So I'm still in that sweet spot. So it says, um, spiritually, this is often when people experience breakthroughs, vivid dreams, emotional clarity, or even a deep sense of peace. And so I feel like, um, yeah, because at 36 to 48 hours, it said you may feel more sensitive or emotional. So I just feel like this episode is going to be a little bit more raw than the rest. You've been warned. But grieving the loss of who you thought you had to be. Mm. So who I thought I had to be. Let's start there, right? Um, I we grow up as little girls and we think we have to be mothers and wives and take care of everyone. I grew up in church, so I thought that I needed to be um this good little church girl. I thought that I needed to be perfect. I thought that I needed to be I wanted to be a speaker, one of the leaders in church. I wanted to be um, like a world renowned praise dancer. I wanted, but the biggest thing that I thought I had to be was perfect. I thought I had to be perfect. I thought I had to be perfect to get to heaven. I thought I had to be perfect to be loved, to be cared for. Um, and so, because of my trauma and because of that thought, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and that's still a lot of what I'm unlearning right now. And I was a perfectionist for a long time. And even now, I still carry some of those traits. Um, and my therapist always reminds me, it's progress over perfection. And I remember one time during my healing journey, I was just like, I gotta fix myself. I gotta fix myself. I gotta be perfect. I can't be with anyone, or I can't find love, or I can't be in love, or whatever, unless I'm perfect, unless I'm fixed, unless I've healed all this trauma. The reality is, it's a lifetime of trauma. Like, I experienced the trauma from like 3 to 17 on and off, and then I experienced more trauma, right? So that added on that, and that's all without it being healed. So now here it is untreated. It was untreated till about, maybe 27. And so now here I am, 31, about to be 32. But here I am expecting perfection, expecting to have unlearned all this stuff because now I'm aware of it, right? But it was a habit that was embedded in me. Not to mention, I don't have to be perfect to be loved, right? I'm worthy of love as I am right now. I'm worthy of care. I'm worthy of trust and honesty and all the things, right? So I had to really release that mindset. And as I'm saying this, I'm telling you that it's still something that I'm unlearning, but because I am aware of it, I do have tools in place to help me with that. Um, but it comes up, right? Um, you enter into connections, right? So you enter into a marriage and you don't take that lightly. You think that's going to last. Um, you enter into even re- um religion. You enter into that stuff very deeply, with your heart open, very vulnerably, right? And so there's that expectation of it lasting. You have all these other dreams, maybe expectations that other people are placing on you. So you feel like you have to be this way. And so you grow attached to what the life attached to that will be, right? So now, first, let's just say wife, right? You grow up believing you have to be somebody's wife, right? You have to be wifed up, you have to be the mom, you have to be all these things, right? So then you grow attached to that idea of, okay, I'm going to be a mom, I'm going to be a wife, and my life is going to look like this, right? We're going to buy a house, we're going to do this, we're going to have the kids 2 years apart. We're going to do all these things, right? Then, because this is what we thought we had to live, and everyone's thought is different, right? Or to some degree, right? It's a different variation of maybe the same thing. So you think this, and then you keep living, right? You say, you know what? I've been with a couple of people that the relationships were serious, and now I need to take a break from that. Maybe you take a break for X amount of years, and then you find something happens and it's incredibly hard for you to have children. Maybe, it doing the work, you get a little depressed or you get a little hopeless that it won't happen, right? And maybe it does still happen because for me it did, right? I was married, then I was divorced. I thought I couldn't have kids because I was married for over 5 years, didn't have a kid, right? Then I found out I have PCOS, and I did the work to have kids. And I'm not saying that lightly. Some people doing the work is connecting with a doctor to have kids and still may not be able to have kids, right? Everyone's situation is different. Me, I changed my diet and I worked out because I didn't gain the amount of weight that people usually have when they find out they have PCOS. Just wanted to clear that out because I don't want to be insensitive to those who found out at a later time. I found out when I was like 180, close to 200, like the high 180s. So I was able to knock off 45 pounds diligently, though I had to do a lot of work, but I was able to get that down in order for my hormones to balance to have children, right? So let's say, there's so many different things that get in people's way for having kids, right? But we think as kids, especially because how easy people be getting pregnant now in these streets, we think that it's going to be easy. So this is what we think we're going to live, how we think we're supposed to live, right? That's why so many women who can't have kids or don't want to have kids feel less of a woman, like less of a woman when they can't have kids. So it's safe to use this example. So say you thought you were going to be married with kids at this X amount of age, right? And now you're realizing, I'm this age, I still don't have this, I still don't have this, and I actually may not be able to have this, right? And so now you might feel some shame or some guilt. You might feel, like I said, some women feel less of a woman. Um, and you're feeling all of this. And then, or you might be the flip, right? Because sometimes me, as I've healed in the past, I felt that, right? As I've healed, now I'm who I want to be and not who others expected me to be or who I assumed others expected me to be, right? And so to some degree I would feel bad because I'm not who my mom wanted me to be or who my dad wanted me to be or who my friend wanted me to be or whatever, right? So I would feel some sort of guilt, right? So one, the first guilt, working through the guilt and shame of not living up to who you thought you'd be. For me, I examine who I am. Who am I right now? Right now, I am a single mom. I am um I so I'm not so what was that? That was the marriage, right? I do have the kids. Um and I'm not the church girl that I thought I'd be. I am very spiritual, but I'm not the church girl. I do still believe in God, of course, but um, that's where I'm at, right? So I think about those things. So those are similar to where I thought I'd be, but not exactly where I thought I'd be. But I also think about all the other things, like the fact that I gladly get to homeschool my children. I'm in school pursuing psychology. I did think that I would be a therapist by now. Hold on. I forgot. I gotta readjust my alarms because of this show now. But I'm studying to be a therapist. I am a model. I'm achieving my dreams every day. Every day I'm working towards my dreams. Every day I'm achieving them. Every day I'm successful. I have not lost yet because every moment I've spent in survival mode, I've learned a lesson that built me up to where I am right now, that taught me something that I can teach other people. Um, so I think I bring myself to the present. And that helps a lot with grieving. Gratitude helps a lot. I'm grateful for who I am. I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for the voice that I have because honestly, the girl that I was when I was the church girl, when I was the wife, it's not because I was those things, but it was the girl that I was during those times. Actually, even the girl that I thought I'd be, she didn't have much of a voice. She didn't have much of a voice. Her mindset was so much more codependent. Um, and she lived to please other people. As a wife, I live to please my husband and my children. As a church girl, I live to please the church people, not even God. I could tell myself as a kid all day long, and I'm saying as a kid, but it was like a teenager in high school. But I could tell myself all day long that I was doing it to please God, but it was really to be loved and accepted by the people in the church. being honest with myself. That's what it was for. And so, honestly, I'm better off being who I am now than who I thought I had to be. Because I did think I had to be perfect. I did think I had to cater to these people in order to be loved, in order to be wanted, in order to be cared for, in order to be nurtured. And so some of it was taught, some of it was I liked the response that I got that I needed, the nurturing kind things that happened from me overdoing it. What is it called? People pleasing, and codependency. So I did think that I had to be that. And now that I've connected with my self-worth and my self-love, and I know that I don't have to do those things. Things are a little bit more challenging because people will try you. And when people are used to you moving the way you used to move, um, there's a lot of friction because they're like, well, you used to. Well, why is it a problem now? Those usually the people you let go because again, well, if you've watched some of the boundary videos, usually if someone is upset with you setting a boundary, they're just upset because they don't get the benefit from you not having that boundary, which means that your self-care, self-love, self-worth doesn't mean much to them. Um, so there's that. So now on the other side, feeling guilty for not being who I thought I had to be. With that is it's the same process. I praise myself for who I am right now because who I am right now is wonderful and it's more wonderful because I'm living for me, right? I'm not living for anyone else. And because I'm living for me, by extension, my kids reap the benefits. So, I'm living for me, I'm living for them, I'm living for my business, I'm living for my purpose. But outside of that, I'm not living to please other people. I'm not working towards their goal or who they told me I needed to be or who they told me I was. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes people will tell you who you are and they don't know. And I say this all the time. If you've watched the Beautifully Imbalanced podcast, you know your history. People can be a part of your life all day long, twice on Sunday, and still not know who you are at your core because you've been with you since day one. You know everything you've experienced. You know what you've said out loud, what you've said in your head, what you wrote down. You know, you've been in private rooms with people who you've communicated with and you've had thought processes about that. You know how you process things privately, publicly with different individuals. You know what dynamics you have with different individuals. You, you know your history. So ultimately, you are going to make the right decision for you. And even if you make the wrong decision for you, you know how to do better next time. You do. A lot of times we speak to others, usually because we're seeking validation, unless we're talking to someone who does have more knowledge on a topic, not on you or what decision you should make, but just on the topic in general that gives you information to make a better decision for yourself. Other than that, like, really, we're really just seeking validation or we're seeking confirmation on whether we should do something or not? So, in the grieving process, the beautiful thing about the grieving process, especially grieving a loss of who you thought you had to be, you get closer to yourself when you're honest. When you sit down and you be really honest with yourself, you grow closer to you because now you can really be honest, really be real. Who did I think I was going to be? Why did I think I was gonna be this person? Right? Who did I think I had to be? Why did I think I had to be this person? Who do I want to be and who am I right now? Who do I wanna be? Who do I wanna be? I always wanted to be like, the oldest daughter on, The Huxtables? She was always so chill and so, like, cool. She had, like, a nice vibe. I even loved her hair. Like, her aesthetic was, like, bomb. Like, I always wanted to be that, right? And of course, Beyonce, Tyra, Lala, all the things, right? I used to want to be like these people. I used to grow up wanting to be that way. So I felt like I had to do all these different things in order to be that way. Also, when you have role models, when you look up to people, you always feel like you have to do things exactly the way they do it. And so I encourage you to really search what you want to do. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And be that person. It sounds simple, but it's not. But it's not because we live in this society where there are people you do look up to and admire. And there is this whole world of people telling you to be something else. In music, the videos and the all the content, and you never know what's what. That's why you have to be honest with yourself and search yourself. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? I know who I want to be. I did audio journal and I really broke it down and communicated with myself. Who do I want to be? I do still want to be that calm, spirited person. I still want to speak life into individuals. I still want to be, of course, that, fashionista, that content creator, that model. I still want to be those things, but I want to do them in my way. I love Beyonce all day long, twice on Sunday, babe. Look up to her still, same with Tyra. But I still want to be me. I could literally do the whole, how people like do the impersonations and they, we mimicked her all our childhood. I could literally do that and go around and get booked for gigs doing that kind of thing. I don't want to be known for being someone else. I want to be known for being me. So who do I want to be? And I think it's important that you ask yourself that. And once you get to the core of that, it makes it easier for you to grieve who you thought you had to be, because you look in the mirror and you see who the fuck you are, and then you see where you're going and you're like, I'm great where I'm at. I am. So those are some journal prompts you can use. One, who did I think I had to be? Two, why did I think I had to be that person? Three, who am I right now? And four, who do I want to be? What are we working towards? How are we going to elevate? There's no cap. Like there's no ceiling. You can elevate as much as you want to, but it's up to you to do so, right? It's up to you to determine what's going to give you quality life, what's going to give you, make your life full of pleasure, quality, and purpose. That's my goal, is for me to live a life pleasing to me, for me to live a life full of quality, and for me to fulfill my purpose. So when I make decisions, I ask myself that, is this pleasing to me? Is this part of my purpose? Is this going to give me quality of life? Am I doing this for somebody else? And if I am doing this for somebody else, am I putting myself on the back burner? 'Cause that's the biggest thing. Helping people is great. Love it. It's my purpose, literally. But am I putting myself on the back burner to help this person? Because if I'm doing that, I need to set a boundary, you know? So that's been my process when it comes to grieving the loss of who I thought I had to be. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I do have more coming from the grieving series. And I'm going to read you guys a little bit. If you have any things you want to talk about when it comes to the grieving series, let me know. Let me see. Grieving. I had it pulled up, but then I had to move to something else. Okay. So we have already talked about in the grieving series, we've already talked about grieving the life you thought you'd have, grieving friendships, grieving and boundaries. We've talked about, so now today we're talking about grieving the loss you thought you had to be, sorry, of who you thought you had to be. The other things we will talk about, grieving your childhood dreams as they shift, when grief hits years later, and grieving roles you were forced into, which was actually something I wanted to talk about tonight, but this one came to me first. Um, so that's the grieving series so far. That's what we'll be adding in. That's what will be coming. That's what's on the way. Again, if you have any questions, if you have any other grieving topics you want us to talk about, let me know and we can work them in. I appreciate you taking the time to watch Beautifully and Balanced as we are back and full in action. So every Wednesday night will be a drop. It should be launched Wednesday night by 7 p.m. Right now it's 6:12. So we are good. We are on track. Okay. Um, excuse me. Excuse me. This is not going to be a live show. The other talk shows are live. Well, this is more of a podcast. It's just me. I don't think you can call that a talk show. But anyways, the other shows are live because they're less raw. These are me talking about my trauma, me talking about, my healing process and what I healed from or am healing from. And so having questions pop up that I may not mentally prepared to be answer, or even having questions pop up in general could be distracting and take away from the message. Usually when I disclaimer, full disclosure, if you haven't seen an episode, usually when things get very vulnerable, I get distracted and I'll get fixated on something else. So um, these won't be live, but you can always, if you're watching the replay, if you're watching the video, you can always put your questions in the comments. And I can get back to them. I could do a whole nother video of them on them. And I could also, if it's like something super personal, I can write you a private message. You could also private message me I'm on every platform under Deshae Carter. So um, yeah, that's. But as always, how we love to end every show. Remember that you are worthy, 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 worthy always. You are worthy of accepting who you are right now. You're worthy of accepting who you are right now. You're worthy of walking in to or growing and elevating and rising into the person that you want to be, right? You are worthy of releasing who you thought you had to be, releasing the pressures of who other people want you to be. You are so worthy of that freedom, of that strength, of that mindset. You're worthy of all the growth that comes from grieving. You are so worthy. You are so worthy of all that growth. There's going to be so much growth that comes from letting this stuff go, releasing this stuff, and not holding on to it. Remember, when we hold on to things, we don't leave room to receive anything. There's no room to receive anything. There's no room to receive any of this progress that you're making. Remember that you are worthy of progress. Perfection, there's nothing beautiful about something perfect. I was just saying, like, it's just cookie cutter, right? We want to be our raw and wonderful selves, right? That means unique. That means whoever you are, right? We want to be that. That's what we want to be. So you are worthy of being beautifully imbalanced, okay? You're worthy of being imperfect. You are worthy of being wonderfully human. And most importantly, last of all, you are worthy of unconditional self care and unconditional self love. Until next time, my loves, bye bye. Thank you for watching the Beautifully Imbalanced podcast.